All right. Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Sensibly Cynical. My name, of course, is Mr. Cynical Sensibly, aka the host, obviously, Sean. And joining me is the host of the Antisocial Show and Succotash Shut In, Zaner, Tyson Saner. What's up, man?
Hey, how are you doing? Thank you for
You,
having me.
you like that intro?
That was a great intro. Yeah.
Well, 30 minutes I counted of IT issues. And well,
Wow.
let's not get more than 30. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let's plow ahead, shall we?
All right, yeah, let's get to it before we are here for 2 hours. All
Ah,
right, so today we're actually going to talk about rock music. All right, so what we're gonna all right, so it kicked him off. So let me see if he can come back. All right.
the I just
All
have to.
right, so it kicked you off and now you're back.
It's kicking off my microphone for some reason, so I just keep clicking it to come back on. Basically.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so today we're going to talk about obviously music.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about your history. Didn't you tell me in the past that you actually were in a band or played, you know?
Oh, yeah. I have been in a band. Absolutely. I've had a pretty long relationship with music.
So
um.
talk about that.
Well, it's it started young with an appreciation of music, starting probably with stuff I heard on Sesame Street, and then
Yeah.
like because there's a lot of really catchy stuff on there. By the way, Joe Raposo, great composer.
Yeah.
A lot of classic new to me as a baby, melodies and things. Anyway,
Yeah.
songs like "Somebody Come and Play," stuff that's very musical, very melodious, and that led me to the
Mhm.
Beatles, basically, which is probably my first adult music. And then after that, um, at some point, I don't know, 10 years later, maybe I found rap. I think uh, anyway, I got into EDM, but I like all sorts of music, and I definitely do like uh, rock and roll. Over throughout the years, over throughout.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
throughout the years. All right, so for me, man, I was all over the place. First, I started off with rap because I'm in Florida, so I was not too far from the Atlantic scene or Atlanta scene.
Uh huh.
So I was into like 50 Ti, people like that, and then I'm in high school, and I'm like, well, I to be honest, I wouldn't say I was like a loser in high school, but I lacked in the friend department. So,
Mm.
anyways, you know how they have those initiations, not initiations, but one of those what's the thing where you go through your classes the day before?
Oh, I was just gonna say hazing, but no.
No, no,
No. You
you
go
know what
through
I'm
your
talking about,
class.
right?
Oh,
The
oh, oh.
walkthrough.
Yeah. It is. It's like initiation, but it's not. It's not
Well,
that.
you bust balls after it's over. But no, so you walk.
Orientation.
Yeah. I don't know why I laughed at that. I don't know why I laughed at that. Anyways,
That's
by the
fine.
way, I think what helped with the diverter, we failed on this, but I think what happened was I had it the wrong setting or something. Anyways, let's get back on track. So
Well,
I'm
it's
in
nice to see you
line.
anyway.
Yeah, 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 well, you like my background
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Mine
and
is well.
the green for Sensibly Cynical. Well, what stinks about this is that the link that I posted that is technically not this one, but it's okay. It's whatever, right? We're on. That's what matters. We're on YouTube.
Sure.
All right, you see the Sensibly Cynical shirt? I've had this one for a while. But anyway, so I'm
Nice.
in yeah. So anyways, I'm in orientation, right? I'm just sitting in line. I'm like this guy, like it took me a second to realize who he was. um, this guy came up to me. He's like, "Oh, hey, Sean." I'm like, "Where the like?" I think I can cuss on YouTube. Where the fuck like have you been? You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm like, he's like, "Oh, well, he had people because he was like a sophomore, So I'm not gonna. I went from no friends to decent friends. So I'm like, oh, I used him as a networking kind of thing to become not a loser in high school. So I'm like, so I act. I'm like, oh yeah, man, it's been cool. I don't remember who the fuck this guy was. I'm like, I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, yeah, man. What's going on? And then I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I played soccer with you like 8 years ago for comp. I'm like, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You're the one that sat the bench. I'm just kidding, you know. But no. So he got long story even shorter. Uh, is that, anyways? He was like, oh yeah, let's go to let's go to Disturbed, and I'm like, and
Oh,
my
nice.
oh, I got your logo changed. It says
Y-
antisocial show now.
I did that so I could have some kind of visibility because
Oh,
I'm currently wearing my
well,
antisocial
I
show
don't think we have
shirt.
any. I don't think we have any listeners, anyways, because we changed the link. But
Oh, okay.
it's
But
whatever.
well, I can tweet it out
Anyways,
if you send it to me. But yeah.
nah, don't worry about it. We're on. That's what matters.
Okay.
So, anyways, long story short, I'm at a Disturbed concert. He's like, "Oh yeah, Disturbed." I'm like, "Well, I don't know
Oh
who the
yeah.
fuck Disturbed." And this was before, I mean, there was Google, but I'm like, I don't even know who Disturbed is. And I was it was at the Amway Center in Orlando, and I was like, "Oh yeah, these guys are fucking crazy." People were doing mosh pits, and here
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like a 16-year-old, like how do I say this? Haven't been initiated yet by a woman, so
Sure. You
so
haven't
I
had
don't
your
know.
orientation yet.
Haven't pulled out yet. So but
Huh.
anyways, yeah, so anyways, yeah, so I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing, I'm at this concert. I'm just trying to fit in.
At Disturbed. Wow.
Yeah, so my first concert was Disturbed and like 10,000 fists. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you in fact get down with the sickness?
I mean, yeah, 10,000 fists, down with the sickness. Yeah, it was good times, man. And then I
Mm-hmm.
ended up going again. But they
Awesome.
but this group got me, in a phase I'm not proud of. You ever play the game Quarters?
I am familiar with it, but I've never had the opportunity to
Of
actually
course,
play.
I was 21 when I did this, Tyson.
Sure.
But
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. I remember 21.
I'm fast forwarding 5 years. But anyways, so we would do quarters in the garage.
Okay.
And if you got the quarter in the shot glass, that was your turn. Actually, I think it was, if it got in the shot. I think we did a spin on it. I think if you get the quarter into the shot glass,
Mm-hmm.
it's the shot glass is filled with, like, not Everclear, but like some heavy shit. And
Woo.
you had to pick who was gonna take the shot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We were like 151. So we're like
Oh
so
God, I
it's
remember that stuff.
they
Oh,
banned it because it's flammable. Anyways, you had to
really?
pick who was gonna take the shot. Well, me and my buddy behind his back picked the same guy.
Wait a minute. So where
Just
did they
bad guys.
ban? Where did they ban 151?
Well, I think at bars or some. I heard something about, you know it being not available. But
Oh, it's possible. I
um,
just wondering, is it not available where you are?
no, no, no. I don't know. This is rumors I hear say.
Oh, okay.
So, anyways, that's what got me into the rock scene, and then I dated this gothic chick,
Uh,
and she got me into like Boyfriend Valentine. She was into like him. I think some band from Finland, not Hum. Hum is one of my favorite bands of all time. But
uh-huh.
yeah, they're a great band. They got lost in the. We'll talk about them later. I'll
Okay.
advocate for Hum. It's my own podcast. I can advocate for them.
Sure.
So, so anyways, yeah. So she got me into all that, like My Chemical Romance,
Mm-hmm.
gothic shit,
My
and I was
Chemical
like,
Romance. Wow.
yeah, My Chemical Romance. Have you heard of them?
I have heard of them. I
They're good.
believe
They're good stuff.
I yes, yeah. I have not. I don't think I've heard a song by them per se, but I will.
Black Parade. I think
Okay, I
something with.
will.
Oh, welcome to my. Is it Black Parade? I don't know. It's something
Hmm.
about my parade. So it's something with parade, and it's like a long
Uh-huh.
what's it, melodic? Is that a word?
It's kind of. It is now. It's melodic, I believe, is what you're.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, I like
But
melodonic though, because it reminds me of belladonna, which is sort of a hallucinogen. So it's like a hallucinogenic melody.
you know what's cool about this? We're rambling on YouTube with no listeners. That's what's fun.
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah.
so I was into a bunch of things like that, and then I got more into it, like Tears, like Both from Valentine, Tears Don't Fall, Papa
Hmm.
Road,
Hmm.
Stain, Shine Down.
Oh yeah.
So enough about that. And then of course punk. I got into the punk rock scene,
What
pop punk.
what was your pop punk? Okay, I was gonna say
So
what
like
was
Blink
your
182, Newfound Glory, Yellow
what was
Card.
was was Blink 182 your first punk show?
No, like no, I didn't go to Blink 182. I just liked their stuff. But
Oh, I see. Okay.
I did go to Earth Day Birthday in Orlando, which had a bunch of pop punk bands. More like rock alternative, kind of like, like Shinedown Stained, Papa Roach, like I said, Kid Rock, I think was
Mm-hmm.
in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would have like it was like a 2 day, what weekend events are, Tyson, where they have the main events at the very end, and then these radio stations would invite smaller bands that win a competition to get on it, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So
Earth Day
it,
birthday?
yeah, it's in Orlando, Florida. But
Okay.
so yeah, so that's what my background is. But before we continue,
Mm-hmm.
Tyson, how's the podcast going? How's the
Which one?
antisocial show?
Oh, okay.
How's that going?
Oh, it's fine. It's it's in a little bit of a not exactly a actual hiatus, but it's kind of like the holidays are getting a little more complicated to release episodes frequently, but we still have a couple in the can, and I will get to editing those very soon, and
Hmm.
they will be published. I believe your episode is up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I have breaking news for you, Tyson.
Hmm.
You are the second member of the highly coveted, sensibly cynical four timers club.
Holy cow!
Take a bow.
I
You've been on this pit of misery four times.
Well, thank you very much for having me on that many times. I do feel special, honestly.
See the mug with my real name on it?
Yeah. Oh,
No,
that's cool.
but yeah, I just like your deadpan style. I tell you that every time. You're just classic. I love it.
I
I'll
appreciate.
keep having you on.
Oh, I appreciate that you enjoy what passes for a personality that I have.
No, I think it's great. I love it. I love it. I don't even think it's intentional by you. I just love the personality in a heterosexual way.
Oh yeah, I understand.
Because you're married, I don't want to cross that line.
I appreciate your discretion,
And not wanting to cross that line.
or not discretion. I appreciate your
You're
boundaries. I don't know.
thoughtfulness.
That's that. I'll take that. Yeah, thoughtfulness is good.
So enough about me rambling about nothing.
Okay.
Let's go into your history with music, or try to do the best you can at least.
So yeah, the Beatles were the first like band where I listened to as much as I could, as soon as I could. Thankfully, my dad had Beatles on vinyl, and there was something really amazing about it to my brain at the time. I also liked classical music, and I think that I probably heard the influences of classical music in the Beatles. That's possible. I also really like this one single that was popular in the 70s. It was called Joy by Apollo. I'm going to say 100, Apollo 100.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard that song?
That sounds familiar.
So it's a 70s rock interpretation. It's kind of prog rock interpretation of the song Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring by
What's it called?
one of the Bachs.
What's
It's
the song
called
called?
the song is called Joy,
Oh, here it is.
and it is by Apollo 100. And
Yep.
it was
Joy by Apollo 100 is a 1971 instrumental
yep.
pop hit record. It's a rendition of a 1723. But wow, so it's a remake from 1723? What the hell?
Yeah, well,
This
it's a song that goes it's an old let's see, it's what's his
it hit
face?
number
Josh Groban
6.
sang it.
It hit number 6 in 1972.
hmm It,
Wow.
it's the one that goes
All right.
that way, et cetera, et cetera. Except it's got this like it's got a beat, and it's they
Yeah.
put a beat behind it, and they turned into
Mhm.
like a well, it wasn't disco yet, but it was definitely like what was the category that they said it was on there?
Um,
They had it listed as?
contemporary pop, like progressive pop, it says.
Okay, cool. So I called the
But
progressive part. That's hilarious.
that's Wikipedia. You know, the gatekeeper of all things factual, right?
What's that, Wikipedia? Oh, certainly. I'm a contributor. Um,
You know.
okay, so I did send out a link. So we
Well,
uh, on
oh
Twitter.
yeah, yeah. You did
Yeah,
send it. Hold on,
I
let
did.
me.
So I don't know if we're going to be getting, but I did send it. It
Well,
got a.
here's the thing about I'm just starting this YouTube,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so I'm like just starting. So I don't
I
want
hear
to
you.
disclose how many followers I have on it, but it's not much.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes being on there first.
I hear
you
you.
know.
I actually have YouTube videos on YouTube.
So
Oh wait,
what's
you
cool?
probably know
What's
that.
cool about this is even though I only have 13 followers, this will stay on. That's why I kind of want this to do this rambling. What we're doing, rambling
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube because this stays. Like it's easier to push this to people on YouTube than Instagram.
I hear
You
what
know
you're
what I
saying.
mean?
Oh yeah,
Because once I build this, this will be like in the archives of listenership.
I got you. Well, I think that yeah, I believe that every I think it's good for everybody to have kind of like a we're getting our stuff together episode, essentially. You know,
Yeah.
if you yeah, I've never gone live on YouTube, so this is a first for me as well. I
What?
was going to start streaming, doing gaming at some point in the future,
Mhm.
so I do
Well,
intend, but I'll be probably using Twitch. So, or although hey,
can
I have videos on YouTube right now. Yes, sir.
so can I be inquisitive about something? And this is not
One
this is
hundred
not
percent.
this is not criticism.
Okay.
I'm just inquiring minds want to know. So
Hmm.
what do you think was the issue with when we were trying to get on?
No clue.
No clue.
Not 100% no clue.
So
No.
I could actually what happened, ladies and gentlemen, is like I said in the beginning of the show, we actually had IT issues. But here was what the crazy part is: I could actually hear you.
But I
Like
couldn't
you
see
were
you or
like,
hear you. Yeah.
yeah, that was wild.
So that means I
But
was coming through, but go ahead. You're talking.
but before we even lose more listeners than the ones that aren't even on here yet, let's continue on. So go. So you said you actually were you in a band or were you just putting out samples? Talk about that.
So I have been in a band, but that's not. So I was in a band for about I don't know. It was less than a year. I was asked to join a band uh, as a vocalist, and perhaps additional songwriter and perhaps additional guitar player in high school. A
Mhm.
band called Gypsy Sunrise asked me to be part of them, and I really liked their sound. Uh, so,
No,
so I
go
see
ahead.
that. Sorry, I was just reminiscing a little bit. Anyway, so that there were a bunch of nice guys, and we did a couple gigs in high school. I learned a couple of their songs. We learned a couple songs together, and then it never really went anywhere for me with them after. They changed the lineup with like two additional people, but like Dan Anderson, like Brett McKinney, he was always there. There was a guy named Doug Spivey, and then Jacob Morgan
Mhm.
took over bass duties. At any rate, they were all very talented musicians, and I always kind of felt like I was along for the ride. But
Right.
thankfully, I've been able to play guitar for at least since high school. But being able to play and being good at playing, of course, are two different things.
Well,
Um,
what was it that drew you to actually performing?
oh, to performing, wow. Um, well, I always liked to tell jokes when I was younger. I liked to what drew me to performing. I would see things that would make me laugh. So like the Beatles weren't necessarily funny in the same way that say Danny Kaye was funny. So like
Mhm.
maybe I'd memorize a Danny Kaye song or something I heard on Dr. Demento, or actually I did a lip sync of a
Yeah.
Danny Kaye from the Inspector General, as a way of basically getting people to laugh. And so
Mhm.
and then I didn't really start singing, which was my first thing, until like eighth grade or something, somewhere between sixth and eighth grade. And
Mhm.
then playing the instrument was later. But like I've always, like I said, I've had a long relationship with music,
Mhm.
but I'm just not. I mean, there are people who are amazing at it. Uh,
So
that But I mean, I just remember. Go ahead. But I remember music being really. a thing. Go ahead.
Before we get to the Mount Rushmore, what was your thoughts
Hmm.
on music as the like pop punk scene? What was your thoughts when all those bands back in the '90s got big?
Hmm.
Nirvana, Blink 182, Newfound Glory. There was this band that I kind of got into that didn't made it big for a while.
Uh huh.
Pardon me. It's the pizza I ate.
Sure. Certainly. Yeah. Yeah.
But this band that's no longer around, but it was I don't know. Have you heard of Jimmy Eat World?
I have heard.
They
I've
were
heard of Jimmy Eat World. Certainly.
top probably in the top 100 band names of all time. Jimmy Eat World is classic band name.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
anyways, they were back in the in the late '90s, and they ended up getting dropped. But they have that one hit wonder. I mean, technically, some people say it's a one hit wonder. Some people don't. It's the middle, is what it's called. And so, what was your
Oh,
thoughts on the pop punk scene coming
which
in?
one? Well, which one's that song, by the way? The Middle
It's
by
called "The
Jimmy.
Middle" by Jimmy Eat World. I don't know the melody offhand, but
Okay.
and I don't think I
Uh,
can play. I don't think I can play it on YouTube. Copyright and
I hear what you're saying. Yes. So, well, we could talk about fair use and commentary on things later, but certainly. So, what was the question?
what was your
Pop
thoughts
punk.
on the pop punk scene coming up
So,
in the '90s?
in the '90s, okay. Does pop punk include Green Day?
Yep.
I liked Green Day. I they used to play in, I believe, in Arcata. They played there a couple
Hmm.
times. They had actually changed their lineup right before they got really big. Uh,
Hmm.
their drummer, they replaced the drummer uh, with the guy who's in there currently, Trey Cool, I think.
Hmm.
And the previous drummer, I believe, was part of another band called the Ne'er Do Wells, and they weren't exactly. I don't think I would call them pop punk, but they were interesting.
Hmm.
They kind of reminded me of, like, it's like aggressive '50s music or something. I don't know. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
have
it
to.
does. I'm just looking up right now. It says definitely Green Day is pop punk, and
Okay.
also the Ramones. I remember the Ramones. They were also pop punk
Oh yeah, the Ramones. I'm sorry.
back in the day.
I like what I've heard. I've only heard a couple things. I hear that
But
that.
yeah, punk. Yeah, punk really like. And what who and another I forgot about her until I was just listening to her stuff. Avril Lavigne.
Oh sure.
She was a big influence, like not like influence, I guess, on me or my style of music. Because if I was an actual artist, I people would throw tomatoes right off the bat. I can barely podcast, but
I've
no. So Avril Lavigne, don't tell me she has this latest song. She did a song. I think it's Bite This or Bite. No, it's Bite Me. And
okay.
she was big back in the day.
She did Skater Boy, right?
Yeah, and there was also a conspiracy that she actually died, and
Oh, oh,
you
it's
didn't hear
because she had
about
like
that?
Lyme. No, she had Lyme disease, I think, and like she
Like
had.
this was like a clone, or it was some demented like theory that she actually got replaced by someone that looked like her. Look it
Well,
up.
just like the Beatles, or just like Paul McCartney, the Paul McCartney death hoax that happened.
Yeah, yeah. So like Avril Lavigne has to answer it every once in a while.
I liked that song "Complicated." That wasn't
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
particularly.
So anyway, she was big, and then the Beach Boys. I almost put the Beach Boys on my list.
Hmm.
Like no,
I
not my four, but like on my honorable mentions list, I
so
almost had the Beach Boys on there.
do they count as rock and roll?
I would put Beach Boys in rock and roll,
Okay, well
pop,
then my one
like
of my
kind of
rock.
like
Go
pop
ahead.
pop rockish. Yeah,
Yeah, it's certainly pop. It's certainly pop. It's like surf music, and it's sort of rock music adjacent. What I've heard of it, but it's not. It's certainly got grooviness to it. A lot of it does.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Such
So
great production. I mean, Brian Wilson is a genius.
yeah, and I also got into. I actually saw the band Sister Hazel. Have you ever heard of them?
I have not heard of Sister Hazel.
They're like a kind
Had
of a
not.
somber acoustic band, rock band itself. I saw them alternative rock, like it was that girl I was telling you about I was dating.
Uh huh.
She was into stuff like that. And Sister Hazel basically had that song All For You, which is like they're definitely a one-hit wonder. So you may have actually heard All For You, like if you actually heard the song
Uh
itself.
huh.
You
Hmm.
My guess is probably you've heard it. I would put All For You in like the top. I don't know, 50 one-hit wonders.
All
So
for
that's what,
You.
yeah, by Sister Hazel.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really, it's kind of like what's our word? Melodic, melodic.
Melodic, I believe.
Have you looking it up? All for you.
I'm actually looking up somebody else at the
It
moment,
came
but
out. It came All for You by Sister Hazel.
well, I wrote down Sister Hazel, so
Came
I'll
out in
okay.
1997. Yeah, and it was like it peaked to 11 in the Hot 100. But
So there's
these guys are out of Gainesville, Florida. So again, it's a Florida band
oh,
that
okay,
makes sense. I live in Florida.
absolutely. It's my understanding up near the Panhandle, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I'm near the Panhandle. Yeah. Ooh,
Because you say that
I got you
on the
on full
podcast.
screen. That's pretty cool. I don't want to fuck with this, but I got you on full screen. Kind of
Okay,
creepy. I'm like
that's
zooming in
interesting.
on myself. It's weird. I need to get out of this. Anyways, anyways, it's like literally consuming the whole laptop.
So, one of my favorite groups actually later in, I'd say in the late 90s and up to, by the way, this is another group that I put on the same level as I don't necessarily dislike anything I've ever heard them do. Does that, like the Beatles for me was like one of the first bands where I could just like, people say, yeah, one or two of their songs isn't good. And it's like, maybe I'm just not in the mood for one or two of them occasionally, but they're all good. So that's the way I feel about Ben Folds 5.
Oh yeah, yeah. Talk about this. Talk about that. I've never heard of them.
Okay, well, it's so Ben Folds 5 is a rock question mark trio
Hmm.
consisting of Ben Folds, who is the uh, main vocalist and pianist, although they also do
I
supporting
mean,
vocals. And then
I mean
there's
that
a
kind of
drum.
makes sense because the name.
It's a drummer, a bassist, a rock bassist, and a pianist,
Gotcha.
and they sing in 3-part harmony. And one of their, let's see, they have a song called "Song for the Dumped," which is fantastic. Also, there's a couple other ones. There's One Angry Dwarf and 200
Yeah.
Solemn Faces.
Oh, you zoned out. You blinked out for a second, making
Oh,
sure
okay.
I didn't lose you.
Nope. Okay, I'm here. Well, anyway, so they have described, they're self-described. I'm not sure by who
Mhm.
specifically as quote punk rock for sissies unquote.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just great music. They only have 4 official albums.
Hmm.
Um, many of the people have solo projects. Ben Folds has crossed over. He's worked with Weird Al Yankovic a couple times.
Really? Oh, Weird Al. There's a person that we could talk about.
Oh yeah, well Tyler, it's like I mean, such a great musician, and the band that he works with, I mean, they're able to adapt to so many different styles. I mean, what the hell, right?
Yeah. So here's what I have planned for like the rest of this episode. Tell me if you're cool with this. What we do
Sure,
here.
sure.
So let's talk about Weird Al, and then after we get to Weird Al, we can
Hmm.
we can we can wrap up this. I want to talk about grunge, and then
Okay,
after we talk about grunge, we can get to the Mount Rushmore. Sound
okay,
good?
sounds good.
All right. So let's talk about Weird Al. What was your thoughts on his? Like I guess is it hard? Is this harsh to say he's a Weird Al was funny, so he's gonna laugh. I mean, he's not gonna listen to this, but is it bad? Is it bad to say that he's rode the same gimmick for years? Is that harsh?
Um, I'd say it's a bit
I
harsh
mean,
because I
I
mean
mean, I mean,
it's a
the
very
gr-
specific
but
talent.
Google gimmick,
Hmm.
and you'll see where I'm coming from.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, the idea of parody, but not everything he does is parody.
Okay,
Uh,
I guess gimmick's kind of strong,
yeah,
but
I'd say it's a
pair
little harsh.
pair
Little harsh.
pair not that harsh. I think Weird Al would laugh at that. By the way, I'm a
Maybe.
big Weird Al guy. I know that doesn't sound like it. I'm gonna keep this into the episode too, just to trigger people. But
I'll I'll take your word for it that you're a fan.
no, I am. I am.
I say that.
What was the one? Just Eat It or something?
Oh yeah, that was off of 3D. His that album. Yeah, Eat It was a bit. It was a parody of Beat It, of course, by Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Um, there was a fantastic documentary that was called "The Complete Al," and "complete" was spelled the same way that
Hmm.
the documentary "The Complete Beatles" was spelled, which is Compleat. Anyway, so the Complete Al had a bunch of his videos up to that point. So we're talking like I don't know, somewhere between 1982 and 1985. So real
Hmm.
early, and then there's like and they were interspersed with this mockumentary and some real documentary footage.
Right.
And there's a film that would get shown at his concerts of him basically asking Michael Jackson for permission to parody the song and explaining it to him. And it's this completely hilarious made up thing where there's like a castle that Weird Al enters, and then Michael Jackson's like on a throne in a red jacket and like turns into a werewolf at the end. And it was hilarious. And his commitment to the video, the actual video of, well, that's the other thing, is the music videos that he does. He does fantastic music videos.
Uh-huh.
Some of the best. Even just a few years ago, his version of Blurred Lines was this video called Word Crimes, and it's all about bad grammar and whatnot. And it's very well done. And it just looks like an internet video, but like those explainer videos that have like words and then arrows and things, like a lyric video.
What were some other songs that he made that he parodied off of?
Well, let's see. He did he did Nirvana. He did Smells Like Teen Spirit. He did a Smells Like Nirvana, also had a great video.
I remember that.
He did I Love Rocky Road. It was the song I Love Rock and Roll. There's I Lost on Jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some older ones.
The Rye or the Kaiser.
Oh, the Rye of the Kaiser. Yeah, that's the theme to Rocky something. I can't remember what the number is.
Kaiser, Kaiser, tomato, tomato, you know?
Yeah, it's the Rye or the Kaiser. It's our special tonight. Yeah.
You're like the perfect person to have on YouTube. We just ramble on about nothing.
Oh, thanks.
It's great. Not nothing, but you know what I mean.
I appreciate that. Well, I try to keep the ball going
not
as best
nothing,
as I can.
But not nothing, but what I'm saying, in the grand scheme of things, this is nothing.
I hear what you're saying, man.
I love it. My style and your style just click, man. It's just good.
Well, thank you. I think we do well as well.
We do.
I enjoy talking to you.
Hunter is good. Hunter is good stuff too. Did you hear the Halloween special?
Hunter is hilarious. Yeah, I'm sure I did. I'll probably have to re-listen to it because
it's actually a good special. We talk about everyone should listen to it. Manhunt. We started off with Paranormal Activity, and then he was in the middle. So I'm sure he likes being in the middle. I'm sure Hunter likes the middle. He was Manhunt, and then we ended it with actually no, Manhunt was the end. He was Zombies. Makes sense because his Twitter handle. So I was like, what can I make up to have Hunter on the show? Oh yeah, his Twitter handle is Zombie in it. That makes sense.
Okay.
So we were like, there was like no preparation, like even less preparation than this. It was like Zombies. All right. Like the day before, I'm texting him what we're gonna do. Like let's talk about the Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah, Shaun of the Dead. That was hilarious.
Dawn of the Dead. I was joking with him. I said, why is every horror movie end with "of the dead"? What's up with that?
That's
like, people can't be creative.
Gone with the Wind of the Dead.
Yeah, it's like every horror movie. It's just like every person now can get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like they opened their doors on every genre. It's kind of like that. And I wanted to talk about that too. But
sure. Yeah, anything.
Do you think Weird Al is like would you say he's like one of the greatest like artists? Would you put him in the top 100?
Yes.
All time?
Yes.
Would you put 100%. Him at 50? Is 50 kind of high?
I'd put him above 50. Yeah, this is the thing. Well, you asked me earlier about Rushmore, and I just want to say picking 4 is difficult because somebody has to get bumped, but that's all I'm going to say. So yeah, but Weird Al in the top 50. This is in my experience, though. This is all and the things that I've experienced. So I mean, I've heard a lot of music that I can't. What's the word? I can't guarantee. What's the word? I can't. You and I have different music that we've heard, and some of us have things we've never heard, and that makes so like our lists are going to be totally relative to each other, to ourselves is what I'm saying. But I do like hearing music, and I like knowing about new music that I've never heard before. I always like being turned on to new music.
We got to build up into the climax, Tyson. Did you go to school? Climax.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I edging?
No, no. I said
Conversationally,
no. I said the climax is the fucking Mount Rushmore. That's the climax.
and then the drop. Yeah, well, no, I would just, but I was just letting you know
No,
speaking
I'm
of,
just
because you
busting
mentioned it,
facts. I'm just
yeah, I think all this gets recorded to YouTube. So I mean, I don't think there is editing.
I mean, me cussing is going to be on the internet forever, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
When I
I
go
it.
on when I go
Mm.
on my deathbed, and everything like that, God God's going to forgive me, I think, for all my transgressions.
It's a nice
And
thought.
and then this episode goes weird.
I mean, we are talking about rock and roll, and it is the devil's music.
I mean, yeah, good point. But you know, you know, Tyson, cut it out, cut it out.
Oh,
Like I
I'm fine. I'm fine.
like
Everything's
like
okay.
I like I say sometimes, cut it out.
Yes, you hand me the paper and say, I want you to make a snowflake now. Cut it out.
No, that's what the kids hear from teachers.
Oh yes, yes. I'm sorry. I
No,
couldn't resist the urge.
I mean nowadays, teaching is a different podcast. But let's get back on track before we lose this one listener that's coming in and out of here.
Is there somebody coming in now? Oh, cool.
There was, there
I
was.
can't even
Key,
see where they would be.
keyword is was.
Was not was
Was.
was was not
So
was. Sorry.
so let's talk about grunge. What's your
Oh,
thoughts on
okay.
the grunge scene?
So that would include Nirvana. I like them.
Yeah. Screamo, grunge.
Screamo. Is that a band?
No, screamo is a type of. I believe that screamo is a type of grunge. I think there is screamo grunge.
Who else is grunge? So like Soundgarden grunge?
No. So
Okay. Pearl
list
Jam.
of list of list of screamo bands.
Screamo. Oh, specifically Screamo. Okay.
Yeah. So like Envy, Hawthorne Heights. Have you heard of them? They're pretty good.
No, these all sound interesting.
Yeah. Look up Hawthorne Heights. They're
On
good.
what?
They're a good band. The Used. You may have heard of them.
I've heard of the Used.
Yeah, The Used was a band from Utah, and they came out in. I said they're born. What am I thinking? I need to drink more of this coffee.
Yeah, have some coffee.
At
Is
like
that?
midnight my time. It's decaf, Tyson. It's decaf. It's decaf.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah.
I'm having decaf coffee at midnight my
Mm-hmm.
time. It's great.
I'm
It's not like
having
it's not like I'm single and live alone or anything. So,
single and live alone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you
I hear
get the
you.
sarcasm there? Anyways, these guys are from Utah, so middle of fucking nowhere. I don't. And there goes my Utah listener.
Well, it's at least the middle of the country, or it's the left of the
No, I
middle.
know. I love Utah. Come back, Utah listener. Come back.
I've never been. I might have been through it, but no, I think Montana's above Utah, right? Like
Yeah,
literally geographically.
I actually had a rapper from Utah on the podcast not too long ago.
Cool. Which one were they?
Shout out to Grizzly. He's an independent artist trying to make it.
Nice.
He
Wow.
he's actually pretty good. He's kind of has like the auto tune, kind of like rap trans,
Okay.
like space rap. I think there's space rock. Everyone's heard of space rock,
I've heard
but
of
I think
space
there's
rock.
also space rap, which is like zone out rap.
Zone
But
out rap.
yeah,
Interesting. Interesting.
yeah. So there's space rap. That's the thing.
You know,
Anyways,
yeah,
so
yeah.
let's get back to your opinion on grunge. What's your thought? Do you think it's a little over the top? Do you think it's a little past your, I guess, taste buds in music? What's your thoughts on grunge?
Oh, no, I like grunge what I've heard. Why don't you, I tell you what, why don't you, or one of us will look up grunge on Wikipedia and I'll just say whether I like what I've
Well, let
heard or
me
not.
let me let me list some grunge bands that help you
Please,
out. That
please,
help you
geez,
out.
please, please, please.
It's grunge. You should know what grunge is. And
Well,
but okay,
wow.
so
I did say
grunge is
Nirvana.
Nirvana is listed on grunge.
Hmm.
It's listed at grunge. Alice in
Hmm.
Chains. Alice in Chains.
I
Excuse me.
yes,
Alice in Chains.
I've heard of them. I'm sure I've liked one of their songs, but I couldn't tell you which one.
Soundgarden. Hey, Soundgarden ended 2 years ago. I didn't know
Y-
that. Soundgarden,
Really?
Pearl Jam.
Because I believe Chris Cornell has been dead longer than that, but I could be
Well,
wrong.
they may have had, yeah. So Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots,
Yep.
Mudhoney. I never heard
Oh
of
yeah,
them.
Mudhoney. I've heard of them.
Melvin, that's a cool name. Melvins,
Oh, the Melvins. Yeah, I've heard of
that's
them.
grunge. Consider. Oh, Smashing Pumpkins. How have I been? How have I done the podcast? It says 40 minutes. How have we done podcast for 40 minutes and not
Hmm.
brought up the Smashing Pumpkins?
Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage.
The Smashing Pumpkins are like one of my favorite bands.
That's a good song. You know, they have
Isn't that
I
Billy Cor? Isn't that Billy?
yes.
Yeah, him. He's into the wrestling scene now, which is crazy. But
Is it?
Smashing Pumpkins, Candlebox,
I've heard of Candlebox.
Bush.
Oh yeah, Bush. Yeah, absolutely. They had that. Oh god, they had that song "Mouth." I think it was called.
So you like the grunge bands? Puddle of Mud. Is
Yeah, I'm
what
fine with the sound. Go ahead. Yeah,
what band did I listen that you want to talk about? Like of all those, you want to talk about Nirvana? Did you like Nirvana?
I did like Nirvana. Yeah. Um,
I know we
so
talked. I know we talked about them briefly earlier.
we did. When he uh, killed himself,
Hmm.
my brother made a silk screen T-shirt that said weep for Kurt, pray for grunge."
Hmm.
I was like, yep, pretty much. That makes
Hmm.
sense. But I want to. I like what I've heard. I have not gotten too deep into the catalog, but again, I think at the time they came out, I liked some of the songs I'd heard. But see, back then you kind of had to like go. I like this enough to buy it so that I will listen to it.
Right.
you
Right. Right.
know,
Right.
so that was
Yeah.
kind of like a big decision at times. That's why I have
Hmm.
probably more rap albums than anything else in my in
Yeah.
what
I
my collection
also.
was, my physical media collection.
I also was in the Candlebox. Did you ever get into them?
I don't know. If
They're
you told
post.
me,
They're post grunge. They have their big hit was their big hit was what was I just saw it.
I'm
Their
sorry, I
big
misspoke. I do know. I did not get into
Far
them. No.
Behind. That's it. Far Behind. 1993, and then also You. You
Okay.
was a big one. So they were kind of influence on my taste too.
Nice.
Like I said, like my ex got me in, and then after we broke up, aka after she dumped me.
Hmm.
Well, it was a mutual. I think it was a mutual contract ending.
Hmm.
We both ended our contracts with each other.
I hear you.
So after that, after we broke up, I kept kind of into it. Like I kind of kept into the scene and like
The music
kept
and whatnot.
yeah.
Cool.
Like
Yeah.
you need to listen to Bullfrog Valentine. I mentioned them earlier, but you said you didn't know who they were. You need to listen to them. They got some Tears Don't Fall. You ever heard of that?
That sounds familiar.
That's a good song. It's like
Which
tears don't fall, they crash around me. That's a
hmm.
good. You
Who's
never
that by
heard that?
again? Is that Candlebox? Did you say or
That's one of my favorite songs. Bullfrog Valentine. Tears don't fall. It's one of my favorite songs in probably ever. I love that song.
okay? I'll look it up
It's
in a
like
bit.
tears don't fall, and then people. It's one of those songs where the lead singer doesn't even have to do anything. You know what I mean?
Um.
Those where he can just hold the mic and the crowd sings the chorus.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like they can just be like, "Oh yeah, this is a big hit. I can just take this song off."
That's pretty cool. Um.
you know. But yeah. So let's just continue. So you said that you got into like how deep in the rock did you get? Like, did you get to some like like not no name bands, but did you like really get involved with like albums, or were you vinyl or what?
Well, it started with my father's vinyl, but when I started collecting music, it was mostly on a tape cassette.
Hmm.
Uh, that I can remember. So I definitely got De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising on tape cassette. I definitely got Tribe Called Quest's People's Instinctive Paths Toward Rhythm on tape cassette. I got the second Jungle Brothers album done by the Forces of Nature on tape cassette. I got Boogie Down Productions, By All Means Necessary, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
song, the one with My Philosophy on it. When CDs started, like my first rap CD was
Mm-hmm.
probably what's his Public Enemy's. It was Public Enemy, and it was the one with Can't Trust It on it. It was
Mm-hmm.
Apocalypse 91. So it was 1991. Apocalypse 91.
Oh, it makes sense.
The Enemy Strikes Black. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes
And
sense.
that had speaking of rock, that had a version
Mm-hmm.
of Bring the Noise on it, where I think they duetted with Slayer, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that awakened something. I was like, ooh, this is neat. Now, it wasn't the first time that a rap group had paired with a rock or metal group,
Mm-hmm.
because
Well,
Run DMC had paired with Aerosmith for
yeah.
rock and roll at
Yeah, and
times.
kind of similar with do you remember Insane Clown Posse?
I remember them.
They were
I
kind of in
don't.
Detroit back in the day in the 90s,
Mhm.
but they also got involved with I can't name a rock band, but they also um and then
Collaborated.
they got well, yeah, the Juggalos.
Mm-hmm.
So, they also got involved in the rock scene, but they were mostly like um they were crazy popular back in the day. What was your thoughts on that whole scene back in the day? Like
I've,
they were
I,
because it was like horrorcore and
I'll
like
be honest.
rap metal.
I feel like I probably would like it now, but I've never heard a single song by Insane Clown Posse.
Really?
So
Google them. Or
no,
YouTube.
I know that they
YouTube.
exist. Yeah,
YouTube.
no. You know what I'll do is I'll probably do YouTube music, because I tend to like put on an album and listen to it from end to end to get a
Yeah.
feel for it. I did
Yeah.
that with Goblin by I think it was
Uh-huh.
Tyler the Creator. That was an interesting
Uh-huh.
experience.
Well,
He
one of
makes
them,
he makes some dark stuff. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
well, Violent J got into wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, he
Like
got
as a
into
wrestler?
like WWE wrestling.
Right, but I mean like as a wrestler or just as a
Yeah.
fan? Oh,
No, no,
okay,
no. I'm
because
pretty
yeah, David
sure. I'm
Arquette
pretty
did
sure.
that. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, horrorcore is a big thing. I had Poltergeist OD on the podcast, and horrorcore is like getting more popular than ever.
hmm.
Where people rap about horror movies.
I'm actually working on a song, and it's okay for me to talk about this, at least
Yeah,
from the
go
other
ahead.
from my collaborator. I mean, so like if it's okay for me to, like
Oh
you
yeah,
just
yeah,
said.
yeah. And if you noticed, I have a running banner on the
Yeah,
bottom.
I see that. Thank you. So I'm working. There's a song I collaborated on called "Scary Love." It has not been released yet, but it's with a local comedian named Joshua Barnes, and he used to rap as somebody called Mental the Beast, which his stuff is on YouTube. Um, anyway, so
Hmm.
in the song "Scary Love" is he makes lots of horror movie references. Like there's just a
Right.
bunch that get thrown in. So I put together something special for him, and I don't know when it's going to be released, but I like classic horror themed stuff. So like I like that Rob Zombie likes to use,
Yeah.
or like White Zombie. White Zombie was named after I think a Bela Lugosi movie,
Hmm.
and he likes horror movies. I've not seen Rob Zombie's horror movies, but I like that he appreciates horror movies, like especially classic ones. Not yet. Now it's just I haven't got around to some of this stuff. So I mean, like Hunter has probably seen every Rob Zombie film. Hunter, my co-host on
Yeah.
Antisocial Show.
Well,
Yeah.
yep.
But
Well,
anyway.
he was talking a little trash about you during the Halloween special.
No, sure.
Not a lot of trash, but he was saying that what he was going to go for your sensibly cynical record, Tyson.
Oh, I see. That's
But now
interesting.
he knows. Now he will know after listening. And plus, he commented about your appearance on Instagram. Did you see that?
I did not see it.
He commented, so he was excited for just like vice versa. You were excited for him,
Oh
so
wait, no, I did see it. I'm
he
sorry.
did. He did have a comment. So you guys,
Yay.
it's like a match made in podcasting.
Hunter's a great guy. I've known him for
Well, let's not
almost a
get
decade now. Okay, yes, go ahead.
let's not rise his ego even more
Well,
than
why
it
not?
already is.
Gosh, I don't know if he's listening. I wonder if he's listening. Like,
he,
or
he
where?
I'm sure he will when we post the link and everything.
Huh.
Because what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna do my editing skills. I'm gonna figure
Mm-hmm.
out how to take a snippet of this
Mm-hmm.
and put it on Instagram video, like an Instagram reel.
Mm-hmm.
Probably probably about the time where I talk crap about a legend like Weird Al. I think that'll be timeless.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. That should age well. But yeah. So, well, the recording, the technical aspects of it, like, yeah, that's a whole other thing. So when you record, when you're streaming, is this recording to YouTube?
Yep, this is live
There's
on
there's a
YouTube.
if you want to you should, if you want to record something off of YouTube, like your own content specifically or any kind of video, get OBS Studio.
Well, this is what we're doing. This is live, our own content.
Yeah,
But I
right. But
need
I
to
mean,
get.
like, if you want to get snippets, you can record them, or
Oh,
yeah. Unless you just want to download the file and put it in some editing software. But I could recommend a couple. I don't
so
know what
what's your
kind you
thoughts
really
on
use.
YouTube, or what's your thoughts on StreamYard? Do you want to talk trash about them, Tyson, or you'll pass?
I'll pass. I haven't had that much experience with them, and I'm not sure what
You don't
I
want
could
to
be
you
doing
don't want
something
to
wrong.
alienate StreamYard on your opening appearance, right?
Again, we've only just met.
You like my bricks? I made those.
Your bricks are very cool. Yeah, it's yeah, it's
Well, they give you like two or three free virtual backgrounds, you know. And what's
mhm.
cool about it is you can put a logo behind you if you want.
Really
Like you can have your image, you can upload an image, like really, you can upload an image, and that can be your background on this thing.
very cool. I occasionally throw a background up on when I'm doing Skype with for Antisocial Show or Succotash.
Yes.
But by the way, go ahead.
So, what's your thoughts on Blink 182? Did you ever get into them? Because I was big into them. I was huge into
It's
them,
another, see, now this is another thing where it's like I definitely have heard Blink 182 songs. I'm
dude.
pretty sure I've liked what I've heard, but I
I
cannot
still listen to
name a
them.
song. Name a Blink 182 song so I can like.
Rock Show,
Hmm,
Mutts,
hmm,
off the top of my head, Aliens Exist. That's my favorite. That's one of my
hmm,
favorites. Um, there's a bunch
hmm,
of them. I've done Instagram reels on Alien. I did an Instagram reel on aliens. What's my age again? I know you've heard that.
I've heard What's My Age Again.
People would get off of this if they're even
I think.
listening at all in the future. They're not listening now, but in the future they will listen to this. And if you would have said no on what's my age again, they'd be like, "All right, bleep this crap."
Yeah, no kidding. Right. Yeah, he loses his music credit card or whatever
Yeah,
that
what's
is.
my age again? Like, all
What's My
right. So
Age Again?
here's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the risk. Okay. So I'm gonna play the first 10 seconds of what's my age again
Right.
live on the podcast. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go.
I feel like this should be an ongoing
Here we
thing.
go.
Mhm.
Now you remember that?
Oh yeah,
I took
I do.
her hand.
I'm sure I've heard that one before. So I'm just writing down these ones so I can have a chance to do a little more research on them. It's interesting because it's like uh, there's a gap in our kind of like crossover, but we have some stuff in
Mm-hmm.
common, which is nice. Like um, I think I was getting into electronic music around the same time you were getting into.
What's that? Oh,
I'm sorry,
when I was getting into pop punk, is that what you're saying?
maybe it's possible. So how old were you when you were getting into pop punk?
Well, like I said, I was a little late. I was a little later than they actually came out because Blink 182 came out in, I believe, 1992.
Oh, sure. No, I mean, I have lots of music that I came to late. Like, I didn't realize I liked Burt Bacharach's stuff until like um, the mid '90s, I
So,
think.
but I got into them. I got into them like because I graduated high school in 2005. So I definitely remember them in high school.
2005. Okay, so you're class of 2005. I'm class of
Yep.
'92. So
Age is just a number.
So in 2000, yes, but it does help. Numbers help with math.
Mhm.
So in 2005, I'd been married for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
So let's see, yeah, high school and so yeah, so like when you were in high school, I was getting into. Oh no, I'm sorry. You started high school in 2001.
Yep, yep. And I remember it vividly because the event that we shall not name on here
Uh-huh.
happened while I was in homeroom.
Okay, so 10 years after I was
The
in
life
junior.
event that we all know about in 2001.
I know not which of what you speak. No, I do. No, not which.
Okay.
I do
Okay.
not know.
Okay. Well, let's just move
Not
on.
sir.
But that was that year, and I remember because my
Yeah.
uh well my brother my two brothers, we're all three of us were in high school at the same time.
Wow.
I was a freshman, Derek was a junior, and Troy was a senior. So isn't that awesome? That was so much fun. I would ride in the back of his Mazda. You know, that was back in the day where, you know, you could put the bed down and you wouldn't have to worry about. And plus, I was in a small town, so
Hmm.
if they see people down with the bed, you know, they're not gonna pull you over in a small town. They're just gonna be like, oh, those kids are having fun, you know.
Sure.
But I made sure that I didn't escape the back of it.
I
With a
didn't fall
belt
out.
or something, something that held me on, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But I'm 13 or 14, so those memories, and I'm 35. By the way, I'm 35 in less than a month.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I still remember those memories, like, so many years later.
Sure, sure. Happy birthday in less than a month. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm just trying to because it helps me nail down what I was listening to know what
Mhm.
year was. So I guess
Yeah, like, "What's My Age Again?" Like, I
what
just
I
played on there.
like
So
I was
yeah,
doing a
so
lot.
Blink-182 was huge, and Newfound Glory is also
Mhm.
a big one. They're still putting out music. Blink-182, I think, is too. Maybe not, but I know Newfound Glory is. They were also a big one that you probably know of.
Blink One. Sorry,
So
Newfound Glory. I've heard of them. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I actually heard them interviewed on Loveline, perhaps back in the day.
Mhm,
Which
mhm.
band had an album called "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket"?
Oh, that was Blink-182. That was
Okay,
Blink-182.
okay. Well, I've definitely heard them on Loveline then, and I
They're
think I probably heard Violent J of the ICP as well. But go ahead.
it's a shame that they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Is it
So with Yeah, so with that
okay?
note,
Mhm.
let's get to our Mount Rushmore,
Our actual
okay,
Mount Rushmore. Okay, go ahead.
of rock music.
Hmm.
All right, so I have your list. Do you have
Yep,
my list?
I did. It's on my Instagram here, but I have to bring it up.
All right, so here's how we're gonna play a little fun game on the podcast.
All right.
On three, we're gonna either gonna say rock, paper, scissor, and
Okay.
whoever wins gets to say their list first.
Okay.
So on three,
All right.
one, two, three, rock.
Paper.
Oh, paper, you won. Paper
Yay.
covers rock. All right, so
Paper does.
what's your list?
So I'm gonna go from 4 3 2 1 basically. So
Uh-huh.
on the, I guess it would be the bottom of the list, but it's not really
Mhm.
the bottom.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put the Rolling Stones on there. If we're talking
Okay.
about putting a group up on a Mount Rushmore. And by the way, I understand that Mount Rushmore is four heads, but I'm still just thinking it could be like, their logo or something indicative of the Rolling Stones. At any
Right.
rate, to where it's a
Right.
collective thing.
Uh-huh.
Because although I have not heard their entire catalog, I have heard a lot of their music, and they have an undeniable connection to rock and roll.
Right.
And also being contemporaries of the Beatles and
Sure.
lots of other people, and they're still going. So I mean, like, you got to give it to them because of that. They, at the very least, deserve to be on the classic Mount
Mhm.
Rushmore, if that's what we were in fact talking about. As far as if we're
Mhm.
talking about rock and roll, I gotta say them.
So 4 was Rolling Stones.
Hmm.
My dad's favorite band. It was either when I was a kid, it was either Rolling Stones or Neil Young.
Oh yeah, well, they're
That
two very different moods.
and
Well, no,
he would tell us as a kid to guess which one it was.
Neil's gone through some interesting music
Mhm.
styles. Like he had
So
an electronic album.
Give
Mm-hmm.
Me Shelter, Rolling Stones, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Satisfaction, the classics, Jumpin' Jack Flash. You know,
All right,
like
number 3.
so number three. Yeah, this was kind of tough, but I who did I put at number three? I know
All
I
right,
wrote
let's
this
do this
down.
a little rapid fire.
Oh, there they are. Yeah, so number three, I'm gonna put like probably Elvis.
Okay, you had Beatles as 3, but you're
Did
changing it
I?
up now.
Well, I'm saying that two
No,
and
no,
see.
no.
Well, it's
Change it up. That's cool.
well, they're it's interchangeable with my two as well. It's like I'd say
Yeah.
that if we're going ranking and also by
Uh-huh.
like historical and whatnot, then it's like technically my next choice should come before, but I don't know that I might have mixed up the influence, but I know that these guys were contemporaries, and there was a little bit of comparison at the time. But who did I say? I said Elvis, right?
Mhm.
King of rock and roll. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, did I? Were we going to do our entire list or do our only slots? Was that the point of the verbal fargling?
Mhm.
The rock paper
All right.
scissors.
Yeah. So go ahead. What's number 2?
Okay, the Beatles.
Okay.
Definitely the
Number.
Beatles. Yeah. So why
Okay.
not one?
Yeah. So you said so Beatles is 3, right?
Mm, two or three. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Beatles is 2. Then what's number 1?
Number one is, well, if we're talking about the history of rock and roll, we've
Oh,
got
did you
to.
say Elvis? So I'm confused. So 4 is Stones. 4 is
Uh
Stones, right? 3 is Elvis. Wait, I'm confused. Start over again.
okay. Four is Stones. Because they're fourth
Okay.
because of his history and whatnot. Because history, as the kids like to say. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, go
and
ahead. 3.
so let's say three is Elvis,
Okay. 2
Beatles,
and 1.
sister Rosetta Tharp.
Okay, so talk about her.
So sister Rosetta Tharp, reading from Wikipedia. She was an American singer, songwriter, guitarist, and recording artist. She attained popularity in the 1930s and 1940s with her gospel recordings, characterized by a unique mixture of spiritual lyrics and electric guitar that was extremely
Mhm.
important to the origins of rock and roll. She was the first great recording star of gospel music and among the first gospel musicians to appeal to rhythm and blues and rock and roll audiences, later being referred to as the original soul sister and the godmother of rock and roll. She influenced early rock and roll musicians, including Little Richard, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, and Jerry Lee Lewis. So, because it's a Mount Rushmore, I feel like leaving her off of this Mount Rushmore would be a grievous mistake or an egregious thing. Now,
Well, she's the godmother of rock and roll. That's what
yeah,
her claim to fame is, right?
yeah, I
So,
guess. Yeah. So I
well,
was
that's what it says. So, all
mhm.
right. So I'm gonna do mine.
Okay,
So, for me, 4 is Led Zeppelin,
nice.
which everyone probably has heard of Led Zeppelin.
A lot of good songs. A lot
Yeah,
of good rock.
and I like their later stuff too. There's a song I forgot the name of it, but there's a song in the last, I don't know, I think maybe in 2008 or something, that's really good. All
Oh,
right,
I didn't know that.
so Elvis is probably 3
Hmm.
because we already talked about Elvis. He was 1954. He sold over 50 million records. I mean, that's self-explanatory.
Hmm.
2 is Beatles, and 1 is Rolling Stone. Just because my father, I have ties.
Nice.
So
Makes
yeah.
sense.
So and I also wanted to talk about Metallica. Do you remember Metallica? Were you big into Metallica? The Black
I
Album?
I actually was Black Album. That's the one with Enter Sandman on it.
Yeah.
Did it have one
I
on
think
it?
it was Inner Sandman. Yeah.
Because I liked the song One, and that was probably the first Metallica song that I listened to from end to end. That was also their first music video, is my understanding. And
Hmm.
I liked that song, so that was kind of my gateway. Like I knew kids in grade school who were into Metallica and Megadeth and ACDC and kind of like the more
Hmm.
harder rock fare than say, certainly harder than most of the Beatles music, with the exception perhaps of Helter Skelter, which is pretty
Hmm.
heavy at times. Um, so yeah, I do like what I've heard. I like Master of Puppets. I think that's a great song. Uh,
Hmm.
and I'd listen to more of them. I like their collaboration with I don't know if it's a collaboration or if there's their interpretation of, I think it's Ennio Morricone's The Ecstasy of Gold. So they're good.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. And of course,
They
we can't. Let's end this podcast with Ozzy.
and
Were you a big Ozzy person?
um
Ozzy
I
Osbourne.
I like what I've heard. I like War Pigs. I like you know, a
He's
lot of the
like rock till death. You know.
absolutely. You know, a lot of the stuff that I got to hear after not having access to the radio or new music was
Hmm.
by hearing people sing songs at karaoke. So I got a little more Ozzy that way. I got a little more Neil Diamond that way. Got a little
Hmm.
more Korn that way. Got a little more of these, this here and there. I'd hear stuff and be like, oh, that's interesting. So that would be where I'd be able to hear the stuff that would make me go, oh, I'd like to listen to more of that. Um, I did have a take on the Mount Rushmore thing in case unless you wanted to get out of here, which I
Hmm.
understand.
What were you gonna say?
Well, so you said a Mount Rushmore, and I thought about it, and I was like, if the people on Mount Rushmore were in a band,
Hmm.
what would they have? And I wrote down my my guesses on that. And then I also wrote down the reality based on their actual music ability. Are you interested in this at all?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's what I thought. So obviously, let's start with George Washington. So he's there. To me, he seems like the lead singer. You know, maybe
Hmm.
keys, maybe keyboardist at the same time. He seems
Hmm.
like a guy he's the leader. He's the first one, so it makes sense. So maybe he's the lead singer.
Right.
Um, Thomas Jefferson. He's on Rushmore,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah.
he's one of them.
So I'm thinking rhythm guitar for him.
Okay. Go
It's
ahead.
hard to explain. I initially had him for keys. I wouldn't put it past him to also do something with keys, but people have to play one instrument.
Uh
So
huh.
that's Jefferson. That's what I got for Jefferson. So Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, right?
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, so he's part of the Rough Riders, so he was on horseback a lot. So I'm thinking rhythm. I'm thinking he's a drummer. You know,
Uh huh.
Teddy Roosevelt on drums, and then Lincoln. Lincoln, well, there's something missing obviously from here, and I I see Lincoln, and I think bass player. So I think stand up bass. So I'm thinking he's
Okay.
playing electrified, maybe stand up bass, dum, 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 one of those things, or whatever it would be. Dum, 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 dum. Anyway, uh,
Uh
so
huh.
that's what I was thinking. Now, here's the reality.
What's the reality?
George Washington played the flute
Right.
throughout his life,
Sure.
so he could still be the lead singer, and it could be like Jethro Tull, so which is has a rock group with a flautist. All
Right.
right. So Jefferson, he actually played the violin and the cello.
Really, the cello.
Yeah, it says
I
to a
did
lesser
not know
degree,
that.
but definitely a violin. Yeah. Um,
Interesting.
Roosevelt. You want to guess what he played?
No idea.
Roosevelt played the harmonica,
Oh wow.
also known as the Mississippi sax.
Yeah.
That's
I'm sure he played that really well.
he may have.
Yeah.
I've heard he did well. Also, I believe Eisenhower did, but he's not on Mount Rushmore. And then finally, Lincoln is
Hmm.
listed as he apparently could neither play nor carry a tune.
Hmm.
So he didn't have musical ability. However, I still think he could be in the band because he was good at writing. So maybe he does a spoken
Right.
word part. Maybe he just writes the music. Maybe he learns to tap his
Hmm.
foot, do a tambourine. Who knows? But
There you go.
there you go. And then so you've got a group that would be a flautist, a string player, and a harmonica, and then no rhythm section except maybe Lincoln tapping his foot.
All right, Tyson. I
Yes.
appreciate I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you, sir.
Before I crash here at 12:40 my time,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
where can people find the podcast? I have your Instagram handle on the banner. Where can people find your podcast as well?
Easiest place to find it, thank you for asking, is at www.tysonsaner.com. That has all the links, including links to
Hmm.
Antisocial, so to Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast, which I still co-host, and to my music videos. My gaming videos is my
Hmm.
YouTube channel. All my links are there. My wife Laura's gaming channel is there. It's all at www.tysonsaner.com. And since my name's on the screen there. Hopefully people will be seeing that, and it's spelled that way, except it's all lowercase and scrunched together. So
all right.
please watch my gaming videos, people. Please, and look. Be on the lookout for more music because my SoundCloud's on there too.
All right. And I, of course, am Sean, the host of the Sensibly Cynical podcast, which is the channel that you are hopefully subscribed to if you're listening to this. And you can find Sensibly Cynical pretty much at any podcatcher in the world. All right, Tyson, that's it for this evening. I appreciate you coming on.
Anytime.
Technical difficulties and all.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you so
And
much for making me part of your first
for
live
those,
broadcast.
yeah, and for those that disagree with the list, well, they'll be okay. They'll survive.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
All right. Adios. Thanks everyone for listening in the future, because not right now. In the future. In the future. All right. Later, Tyson.
Peace. Thank you.